Brett, who is your garbage person of the week?
My garbage person of the week, Ken Klippenstein, for ruining everything. Put up his damn picture. Ken Klippenstein, seen here in Lavender, wrote this article about the UFO whistleblower destroying dreams that UFO aliens are going to someday be my new best friends. Struggling NewsNation did a huge special that performed quite well on this issue, where they interviewed the guy who's the whistleblower. It did wonders in terms of ratings. So obviously the guy who scored the big interview, who was outed as possibly having interviewed a guy who took advantage, who may have been suffering some mental issues. These guys took to NewsNation to defend their work alongside my girl, Liz Vargas. And here's what happened, it was amazing.
Joining me now is journalist Ross Coulthart, who was the first to speak with Grush on camera for NewsNation. Ross, thanks for joining us, especially because we just got news that about half an hour ago, the reporter who wrote that article for The Intercept was fired.
Yes, that's quite a shock, Elizabeth. I have to admit I've been quite surprised by some of the comments that Mr. Klippenstein, the journalist, has made in the past 24 hours. Because I don't think he quite understood what he was saying, what he was admitting. The simple fact is that somebody is trying to smear him. Somebody is trying to discredit him, and it's blown up in their faces, frankly. The journo's lost his job, and frankly, the people in the intelligence community who leaked this information, i.e. provided the tip to Mr. Klippenstein to let him know where to look, those people should be investigated and exposed.
Now, you might be asking whether friend of the show, and because he's a garbage person, enemy of humanity, Ken Klippenstein did in fact lose his job, as reported here by my second garbage person, Ross Coulthart. Put up his damn picture. Ross Coulthart is my garbage person, not because he is going after Ken Klippenstein, but solely because look at all the stuff he's touting. None of that is called the Coulthart facts. He needs to have a thing called the cold hard facts, and he doesn't. He's a garbage person. But to clarify, they're accusing Ken Klippenstein of lazy journalism when they were too lazy to look at this tweet here and not, which says after 3 years, The Intercept has let me go. But they were too lazy themselves not to click through to this tweet, which is the second one, to let me go and to do a newsletter occasionally, which you can absolutely subscribe to here. So NewsNation, already, so come back. So what's funny about this story is that NewsNation got this awesome, huge thing, and they've become the UFO network, basically. Ken Klippenstein is like, here's some more information about the guy who's this whistleblower who's telling you that UFOs exist and they're terrifying, and they're around. Ken Klippenstein's like, listen, you should know more about that guy. And then as Ken describes here, NewsNation's top 2 stories are their false report that my story that I made was based on leaked documents, followed by their story correcting it. And now they're going to have to correct a third story by saying that no, Ken Klippenstein was not actually fired. He was trolling us and everyone, and he actually, they were the lazy ones. But my final garbage person, I have 3 garbage people, aliens. Aliens, put up their damn picture. Aliens who are obviously not ever gonna be my best friends. They're just evil beings who don't have the decency to make themselves known, but rather would let us tear each other apart, reporting and caping for whistleblowers. There you go.
They don't visit, they don't bring pizza, they don't hang out and play board games. They're basically Brett and Brooke at this point. Anyway, yeah, that's a lot of garbage to go around there. How did they not click through and see it?
So
like,
funny.
how did, like, there's a law of the internet, which is if you exist on the internet long enough, someday you too will get clipped. Like, you don't know when or in what form, but you're gonna get clipped. Anyway, let's move now to my garbage. And no, he hasn't lost his job, everyone. He's not replacing me.
He's totally fine.
Whatever. He's gonna be fine. Go follow his newsletter.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.